there, welcome to Sheeran Guitar Tutorials. My name's David, and in today's lesson, I'll be covering the studio recorded version of Ed Sheeran's latest single, Azizam. Usually, I try and show you how Ed plays his songs based on his live performances, but today will be the studio recorded version. If you're interested in learning how Ed plays this song live using a loop station, be on the lookout for a future tutorial as I will surely be going over that. Or if you're watching this tutorial a couple months after the single officially releases, there may be a card somewhere here on the top of the screen to that live loop tutorial. Now then, if you want to play the song in the same key as the studio recorded version, you will not need a capo, but if you want an easier way to play the song, you should put a capo on the 6th fret. I'll be covering both versions in this lesson. Have your guitar in standard tuning? Let's jump on in. And so starting now with the chords that are needed to match the key of the studio recorded version, and this will be without a capo. But there is a timestamp down below to skip ahead to the chords needed when using a capo on the 6th fret if you would like something a little easier. So with that out of the way, the first chord you'll need when playing without a capo is a D sharp minor, and that's fretted and played just like this. Next is a C sharp, which is played like this. Next, an A sharp minor, played like this. And then finally, a B. So now I'll go over the chords needed if you're playing the song with a capo on the 6th fret. This will make things just a little bit easier because there'll be no bar chords. First up is an A minor 7, which is fretted and played like this. A G sus4. An E minor, played like this. And then an F add 9, played like this. So moving on now to the strumming pattern, I have 3 shown up on the screen just to give you some options based on skill level and desire. The first one is probably the easiest, so we'll start there. It's essentially just a bunch of down ups, but you'll notice that the first down strum and the second up strum are bolded, and that just means you try and emphasize those strums a little bit more. Just gives the song a little bit more rhythm. So instead of just down, up, down, up, down, up, it's down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Like I said, just gives the song a little bit more rhythm. So just to play pattern 1 a little bit more for you, it should sound like this. Next is pattern 2, and is based on what I've seen Ed play in the video snippets he's released online when playing the song in China, Boston, and New York prior to the official release. So you can see pattern 2 is pretty similar to the first one, but it starts with a down strum followed by 2 up strums. You'll also notice that the 2 up strums are italicized. That's just to show that you have an option to mute the chord you're strumming by lightly releasing the chord with your fretting hand. So if I were to play a D sharp minor and to do that muting with the up strums, it would sound something like this. And so I'm just lightly releasing the chord with my fretting hand to make that effect. It's up to you. I've seen Ed do this in some videos, but it's probably not required. And then so after that first down strum and those 2 up strums, you finish pattern 2 by essentially just playing pattern 1. So it's just the... So the entirety of pattern 2 would sound like this. And so just to give you a little more context, to play that pattern with some chords, it would sound something like this. Last note here that I'll make is the muting during the up-up strumming portion is actually a little bit easier if you're playing the song without a capo. If you're playing with a capo, it'll be a little bit harder to mute those chords, so maybe you just leave that out. So finally, we have pattern 3, which is essentially the same as pattern 2. You're just leaving out that first down strum for the second half of the pattern. So all of pattern 3 would sound like this. I include that just because it looks like Ed may or may not throw that in there based on some videos I've seen him play online. So use any and all of those strumming patterns, totally up to you. During Ed's performance in New York today, it looked like he used all 3. Moving forward, I'll probably be using a mixture of patterns 2 and 3. So moving on now to actually learning how to play the song. This part will be for playing the song without a capo to match the same key as the studio recorded version. But feel free to skip ahead using the timestamp down below if you want an easier version with a capo on the 6th fret. So as you can see, the entire song is just the 4-chord chord progression I have shown up on the screen, and it's played over and over and over. So the good news is once you get this down, you have the whole song. There are some pauses that happen at the end of the pre-choruses, and you can maybe add some palm muting when you play the pre-choruses if you want, because it sounds like the song gets a little bit quieter there, but the whole song is the same chord progression and the same strumming. So let's get into it now, starting with the first block of chords. You start with your D sharp minor, and you play the down, up, up portion. You can throw in those chord mutes if you like, but leave them out if you want to. You would then finish the strumming pattern on your C sharp, playing the down, up portion. So this whole first block would sound like this. And just a note, if you're using the easier strumming pattern, pattern number 1, you would just play that once for each chord. You would then repeat the same strumming pattern for the next block, but now you're starting on the A sharp minor before moving to the B. So the A sharp minor would sound like this, and the B would sound like this. And so all together for the second block. And again, if you're using pattern 1, you would play that once for each chord. And so that's the entirety of the progression here. From there, you would just repeat this for the entire song. So just to play this progression through one time, it would sound like this. So now I'm not going to do a full playthrough of the song because it's literally the same chords and strumming over and over again. But what I will do is play the song for about a minute just so you have something to play along to. Enjoy. So moving on now to learn how to actually play the song. This part will be for playing the song with a capo on the 6th fret for something a little bit easier. But if you want to play the song in the same key as the studio recorded version, there's a timestamp down below to skip to that part. So the entire song is just the 4-chord chord progression I have shown up on the screen, played over and over and over. So the good thing is, once you get this down, you have the whole song. There are some pauses that happen at the end of the pre-chorus, and you can maybe add some palm muted strumming when you're playing the pre-choruses if you want, because it sounds like the song gets a little bit quieter there, but the whole song is the same chord progression and the same strumming. So starting now with the first block of chords, you start with your A minor 7, and you play that down, up, up portion. And then you finish the strumming pattern on your G sus4, playing the down, up portion. So that whole first block would sound like this. And just a note, if you're using the easier strumming pattern, pattern number 1, you would just play that one time for each chord here. You would then repeat the same strumming pattern for the next block, but now you're starting with your E minor before moving to your F add 9. So the E minor would sound like this. And the F add 9 would sound like this. And all that together for the second block would sound like this. And again, if you're using pattern 1, you would just play that once for each chord. And that's the entirety of the progression. So from here, you would just repeat the same line over and over again for the whole song. So just to play this progression through one time, it would sound like this. So now I'm not going to do a full playthrough of the song because it's literally the same chords and strumming over and over again. But what I will do is play the song for about a minute just so you have something to play along to. Enjoy. And so that's the entirety of the lesson. If you've made it this far, I can't thank you enough. I hope you enjoyed and found something useful from this. Don't forget to like this video and leave a comment letting me know what you thought. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on all those notifications, as there are plenty more play tutorials to come soon. Thank you.